So yes, our natural capital has been degraded, but still much remains, and it deserves our attention in terms of how we manage it. So what can we do? Well, we need to get engaged. The individual level, I guess talks like this, reaching out to these people, watching Guy Greenaway's presentation. At the property level, there's a whole bunch of things you can do that the model says is going to help. You can maintain native habitat on your property, minimize your built footprint, protect wetlands, control your pets, remove food attractants, remove invasive species. Those all help. At the Bragg Creek level, reduce the trip frequency and your travel speed. Support local services, minimize trips to Calgary, discuss trade-offs of Calgary's recreation trajectory. Get these students to learn about the future in meaningful time using technologies like Alberta Tomorrow with Jen Jansen. Discourage built capital in riparian habitat. Stay away from riparian habitat to the extent you can. And participate in citizen science projects, and Dave Kopacki's got some great ideas there. On the regional level, the model screams, someone better talk to Calgary, because Calgary is growing, and if it doesn't do a better job of densifying, this place is not going to be what it is in 20, 30 years. Advocate for sustainable forest management. It's a large sector with a large footprint, which is having a profound adverse effect. Is it doing some things good compared to, say, 30, 40 years ago? Absolutely. But has it fully been integrated? No. And does it effectively look at ecological goods and services? No. It talks about it, but the analyses don't fundamentally incorporate it. We need to push for regional protected areas, address climate change, and what we're talking about. And there's no one to look at except us there. It's our per capita energy consumption. And we need to build in natural capital into all of our economic decisions. It's not difficult to do. It's been done time and time again. It's just we don't do it because we think it's going to be difficult. Okay, so there you are. It's easy to make the land users the boogeyman. But no land users exist without us. They exist because we have demands. So there are you, and your house and your family. And you need wood, you need food, you need minerals, and need energy. So, these are the data on carbon, on water use, and on waste production. And Canada is basically at the top of the world. And in Canada, the top contributor in terms of demand is the province of Alberta. In Alberta, if you were to look at the highest, I think it would be the Calgary-Banff corridor. I mean, we are the people that are using these resources at a rate higher than almost anyone else in the world. So this talk has gone on for about 45 minutes. From the time I started, and every 40-minute period of every day of the year, on average, cities and acreages expanded by 10 hectares. We drilled 14 new wells. We drove 40 million kilometers, produced 4,000 ton of garbage. There's 87 new Albertans from the time I started talking. And we logged 72 hectares. And that'll happen every 40 minutes. And then that'll grow at 2.5%. So my final thoughts, and again, I came to this landscape first time in 1975, where I was asked to look at stream bank integrity in the Bragg Creek and the Elbow. And I've had the great pleasure of hiking and biking and horseback riding, snowshoeing with my family over this landscape. And so I have a bit of perspective, and I love this landscape to death, but it is changing. So some final thoughts from an old wizened guy who doesn't see very well. Still functional, but the form sucks. But I primarily think about, I guess honestly I'm just embarrassed that I'm part of a generation that has created the problems that my grandkids and my kids are going to experience. So we need to be thinking about that meaningful time. So here are my final thoughts. The environmental challenges ahead are profoundly significant, but what is at stake demands our attention. Ignoring these issues will take us to a very bad place. The sustainability solution is not in any way an anti-business strategy. Rather, it is one that incorporates the economic and existent value of natural capital, water, air, land, biodiversity, the spiritual aspects of it too, into the performance metrics that define economic success. Most of these people in this room, we're all business people. We know how to build a business plan. We've just been ignoring some key things. We need to ask ourselves some questions, like what do we want to be when we grow up as a landscape? Because right now, it seems like government and industry and a bunch of us just think we can have it all. That somehow smart people can figure out how everything can happen in space and time. But that's not true. We're literally seeing massive liabilities. So we're collectively using this landscape to death, and we have to learn to live within environmental limits. We've got to stop thinking that we can do everything everywhere all the time. I think we need to move to an approach that says, yeah, we could probably have multiple land uses, but we're going to define the priorities. We have to decide what the priorities are and manage for those. And secondary land uses only exist to the extent that they don't interfere with the priority land uses. So what are those? We must ensure that all land use sectors not only understand best management practices, but deploy them. The Bragg Creek community and environment collectively. I think, again, I don't think we've understood how much power we have. I mean, we're literally holding on to billions of dollars of value every year, and it's not well understood. So we need to help Calgary understand that. Bragg Creek residents and supporters are invested, educated, and affluent, and I think they have the commitment required to meaningfully engage with government and land use sectors on land use plans that allow natural capital to be sustained. So I wanted to thank Bragg Creek Wild for sponsoring this talk. I wanted to thank you for allowing me to share some thoughts. And then I also wanted to identify some of the people that I've talked to recently or a long time ago about Bragg Creek and its issues and how to address it and how to think about it and how to analyze it. So these thoughts, at least the wise ones, didn't come from me. They came from these other people. So thank you very much and for the opportunity to talk to you.